to another episode of Capital Ideas, where we celebrate the innovators who enrich our lives and the capital markets that make it all happen. I'm Nick Morgan. I'm the co-host of Capital Ideas and the founder of ICAN.
And I'm Dara Albright, a co-host of Capital Ideas and proud board member of ICAN. And today we are very excited to have with us the CEO and founder of CalTier, Matt Belcher. CalTier is a innovative fintech company that's doing some great work in enabling retail investors to access alternative products, including real estate. And Matt, I'm looking forward to talking to you, and thank you for agreeing to be on this episode.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
So let's jump in. And first question to you is, how has your innovation, you could talk about how CalTier has enhanced lives in terms of user experience, in terms of job creation, and in terms of access to capital?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and not one that a lot of people ask. So I like it. We hope that what we're doing is increasing the quality of life for people. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here providing access to commercial real estate that typically is very difficult for people to get their hands on. And really, what does that translate into? That translates into cash flow for them and returns and dividends. So we hope that by doing that, it enables folks that typically don't have the ability to drop large sums of money. People can come in at $500 to begin with us and then do 50, and a lot of them do it sort of as an ongoing basis. So, what we really hope is that we're providing a way for people to build at their level, a way to build their wealth and to increase their quality of life. On the company level, we're obviously growing. And I just hired a new person yesterday. She started, and we've got other people coming on in the next few weeks here. So from the investor's perspective, we hope we're increasing the quality of life. From the company, we're growing. We're very like to think we're a progressive, growing company. And then actually on the asset side, we're renovating. Most of what we do is we renovate these apartment buildings, and so there's jobs there too. And there's people. We need people to come in and do the renovations. We need to bring in new teams to manage the assets. So there's quality, and then obviously for the tenants that are in there, we hope to increase the quality of life for them in there where they live.
That's great. There's just so much in there. And just even giving people a place to live.
Right, affordable. The housing. We have a problem here in the US. I'm from the UK, but it's the same in Europe and most of the rest of the developed world. We have a housing issue. Housing is expensive, and people are struggling to live a certain quality of life. So I think anything that's kind of encouraging, affordable and reasonable housing cost is very valuable. Giving back in that way. Yeah.
So everything that you're doing, great mission all around. And how easy or difficult would you say that it's been to raise capital for your endeavor and for this important mission, really?
Yeah. Well, from the let's take two part from this. There's the company investment as we grow as a company, and then there's raising capital online or allowing investors to come in online. It isn't easy in terms of getting the formula right. We talk a lot in the company about this is a recipe. If we're baking a cake, it's a recipe, right? And there's not one thing. It's not the sugar, and it's not the flour, and it's not this, and it's not that, and it's not how hot the oven is. It's all of that together. And so I will admit, in the early days, we struggled with it because we were fine tuning the temperature on the oven and how much flour to put in. And what I mean by that is the messaging, the frequency, where we go. Is it Facebook? What does our opt-in look like? What does our funnel look like? And we feel like we fine-tuned that now to a point that, interestingly, the more we understand and this is, you're going to sort of almost roll your eyes at this, right? But the more we understand what the investor really wants, what they truly want, and we give them that, the easier it's become. And we're getting better at it. We're not the best. We're getting as good as we can be. And I feel we actually have some incredible cost of acquisition numbers and some return numbers on the marketing side, which I think, everyone keeps those close to their chest, right? But I think I've heard some industry people talk about their numbers, and ours are better. So we feel pretty good about that. But online generally, I mean, the last 2-3 years, it's changed completely. I mean, most of the people come to us now, and they already understand what we're doing. That's the big difference. There's not education on what's this all about. It's more like, oh, you're like so and so, or you're similar to this. Oh, that's interesting. I want to do it. So it's a very different discussion nowadays.
You mentioned costs, Matt, and one of the costs is obviously regulatory compliance, an issue that we care very much about at ICAN. We're in the business of trying to knock down barriers to the entry of people into capital markets. What would you say is one of the more challenging aspects in terms of regulatory issues? Yeah,
and Nick, it's probably our biggest expense, outside of marketing, because the more we spend on marketing, the faster we grow. But there is a constant required cost on the compliance side. And so your question is, what's the difficulty? So I feel that there's folks like us and advocates like you guys. We're trying to drive change, and we're trying to make this better and easier. We're not trying to complicate the process. I want it to be as simple as possible, because the more simple it is for me, my team, the more simple it is for the investor. And at the end of the day, that's all we really care about, is making it easy for them. If I have to get them to read 58 pages of disclaimers and 58, and a whole document, and get them to go through this very complicated process, they're not going to do it. And at the end of the day, they're going to miss out. I do very much respect the compliance process. I am a big advocate of that. That's something we talk about a lot in the company. But it's also frustrating that it's almost like there's a accordion effect. We're racing ahead here. We're trying to do the best we can, and there's this slow catch up that's happening. And really, who's getting hurt? It's the man and woman it's the people on the street. And when I do understand you've got to protect people, and you do have to have tight regulation, but it needs to accelerate. It has to get better. And sometimes, which I'm sure you've dealt with, there's a lot of misunderstanding too between the regulator, us, and the investor. And if we could bring them up to speed quicker, I think this whole thing would be a lot easier. So that's been our biggest challenge, actually, is working within the boundaries that are set for us right now, that seem to just move at sort of a glacier pace.
Yeah, sort of the speed of the feedback loop could be tightened up, maybe.
Advocacy groups, they need to listen to more of that. They need to understand that, I'm out there trying to build a business and hire people. In order to do that, I have to provide a service to investors. In order to do that, I have to make things simple. It's the KISS mindset, right? Keep it simple, silly, stupid, wherever you come from. We say a bit different in the UK, but it's that concept. And if people click a button and say, oh, before you can invest, you got to read all this really scary stuff, which is important. But if it's presented in that way, people are just going to say, I don't want to do this.
Right.
And I don't think, respectfully, a lot of the folks on the regulatory side fully comprehend how off-putting that is to people. I don't think they totally get it all the time.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks so much for being on the episode, Matt. Really appreciate your insights, and it sounds like you've got a fantastic idea with CalTier. So we thank you for your time and your thoughts. Thank you, Dara, as always. And for everybody else, please join us on the next episode of Capital Ideas. And if you want more information about ICAN, you can go to www.icanlaw.org to hear more. In the meantime, we'll see you at the next episode.